Hello. Let's explore group identity. Group identity is the feeling of belonging we have to a group of people. The groups can be huge. For example, taking pride in your nationality. Or they can be small, like the gang you formed with your two besties in school when you were a kid. The feeling of belonging to a group is something humans seek out. Actually, it's not just humans. Many animal species are loyal to their group as well. They may even have groups within their groups, just like us. Group identity, like much of life, is complicated. It can be both positive and negative, so we must be careful with it. We have to remember, group identity is constructed. We are free to identify with a group or not. It's up to us. Sociologist Francesca Poletta and James M. Jasper defined collective identity as an individual's cognitive, moral, and emotional connections with a broader community, category, practice, or institution. Identifying with a group, no matter what group it is, means we act or think like the other members of the group, or at least we think we do. We also invest emotionally, meaning any positive or negative impacts on the group, even if these impacts don't really affect us individually, create an emotional reaction within us. Take sports teams, for example. Fans of a sports team will ride the same highs and lows as the actual team members playing the sport. A good game can result in the fans celebrating with intensity, and that high may keep them going for a while. However, if the team loses, loyal fans may sink into a depressive phase. Losing the game has now ruined their weekend. This emotional investment in a group identity and the resulting actions are what can be dangerous. Football fans have attacked opposing fans, trashed shops and cafes, and flipped over cars, all in the name of their team they identify with. Talk about an emotional reaction. So, where does our desire to identify with groups come from? Well, it could be an innate need to feel like we belong, rather than constantly wondering what we're doing on this planet. There's also an evolutionary advantage to identifying with a group. It helps the members of the group survive. For example, when our ancestors were battling for land and resources, they would do anything to benefit the group they identify with. They would even sacrifice their life for the survival of the group. This has been the case for the smallest tribes to entire regions, nations, and empires, all because the members of these groups have shared beliefs, values, and cultural identity. The collective group history also plays an important role. Even if the most crucial events of the group's history happened decades or even centuries before the current members even existed, the group has survived by passing down beliefs and values through the generations. The collective identity of a group can create an us versus them situation. You're either in the group or not. Anyone outside the group gets treated differently, even inhumanely. In the most extreme cases, members of the collective identity may consider the group to take precedence over the much larger human race group. As I'm sure you know, some groups can be scary, particularly if you're not in them. So, is group identity a good or bad thing? I guess it depends on the group. We as individuals help define ourselves using the groups we identify with. They can be as big as our gender group, or as small as a two-person group, also known as a dyad, such as a married couple or an Olympic luge duo. Groups can be our reason for living. They can support us and make us feel grounded as an individual.
It's okay, man, you're not alone.
But they can also tear us apart and cause mass conflict as a human race. We also have to be hyper-aware of any ideological changes in the group. Bad ideas can spread like disease. People tend to believe the ideas of the people they identify with, even if the idea is absolutely terrible, like drinking the Kool-Aid or harming other people, all in the name of the group ideals. So, for any groups we identify with, we have to be sure they are good for us. Like a group that motivates us to exercise or take care of ourselves and others. They have to bring some value to our lives beyond just the feeling of being part of a group. We definitely shouldn't belong to any groups that oppress others or even its own group members. In the words of Keith Boykin, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter which group is most oppressed or whether they are identically oppressed. What matters is that no group be oppressed. Anyway, list all the groups you identify with and put a tick next to the ones that are actually good for you and other people. And consider if the ones left are worth identifying with. I'll give it a go. Okay, other teapots, I guess. We like to share pouring techniques and check in on each other. And I guess I identify with the bigger group of dishware. We help each other out. Inanimate objects. What else? Oh yeah, existentialists. Oh, and I'm an active member of the Teapots Against Coffee Pots Allegiance. I probably shouldn't renew my membership for that. We're not that different, really. I guess I'm from Teapotopia, that's what my passport says anyway. But do I identify with it? Not really. They've done some pretty bad stuff in the past. I identify more as an individual teapot than as a teapotopian. That's probably the healthiest way to go about it. I guess I identify with my generation, but that's a huge group. I've been alive for over 400 years, and look, not a scratch on me. But we can talk about that later. Anyway, give it a go yourselves. I gotta go check in on some dishware. Look after yourselves, teacups. Lovey loves.